The voice cut the still afternoon at Coronado like a knife. You think that's ink, Grandpa? I've seen better paintings in bathroom stalls. The kid wore a fresh buzzcat and a cocky smile, one of the SEAL hopefuls who walked the base. Like they owned it. Frank Nelson, 84, stayed kneeling by the marigolds outside the barracks, packing soil around a young stem with steady, gnarled hands. His rolled sleeves showed a faded, hand-done tattoo on his forearm, a rough frog with a trident. More candidates drifted over. Is that a tadpole with a fork? One jeered. Does that mean you were a cook for the tadpole platoon?
Right.
Put away his little tools, moving with deliberate calm. The taunts grew bolder with the safety of an audience. Peterson, the loudest, leaned in. Come on, Grandpa. Tell us the war story that goes with your doodle. Or was it a drunk mistake? In Tijuana? A few sailors slowed to watch. The petty officer nearby didn't intervene. 3 big candidates towering over an old gardener was an ugly picture. Everyone felt it. It's just a memory, son, Frank said at last, the words low and even. The restraint only stoked Peterson. He jabbed a finger into the old tattoo, then snatched Frank's canvas bag. Let's see if you even belong here. He fished out gloves, a beat-up phone, a dented thermos. What's in here, prune juice? Laughter rippled. Frank's face didn't change. He'd learned long ago that pride usually hangs itself. If you give it enough rope, the pressure on the inked skin pulled him backwards. Mangrove stench, humid air, bugs whining. Moonlight on a black river. 3 men under a poncho, rain drumming, a needle cleaned with whiskey, Mac's steady hand, soot-black ink, a pledge scratched into skin, a mark only they would understand. Hidden crest for a job no one would admit. Existed, a vow to go where no one else would, and bring each other home. Across the quad, Command Master Chief Riggs watched from behind a palm, frowning. The crude frog looked familiar, ghosts from the earliest unwritten pages of naval special warfare. He looked harder at Frank's face and felt his gut drop. It couldn't be, and yet Riggs turned away fast, dialing with a shaking thumb. This is Master Chief Riggs. Put Captain Thorne on. Now the aide hesitated. Riggs's voice flattened. Tell him the name, Frank Nelson. Silence. Then a sharp inhale on the other end. Are you sure? I'm looking at him, Riggs said, glancing back as Peterson tugged the old man's arm. And 3 candidates are about to poke a sleeping god. Peterson squeezed harder. Okay, Grandpa, field trip to base security. Frank let himself be hauled up. Joints protested. For the first time, a flint edge showed in his eyes. Cold arithmetic of a man who knows exactly how much force breaks bone and chooses not to use it, he sighed, more disappointed than afraid. In a windowless briefing room, Captain Thornton, flappable by reputation, took the phone, listened 10 seconds, and went from bored to volcanic stillness. Where? Chairs scraped. Get my car. Command staff to the grinder in 5 minutes. Full dress, if possible. The room emptied like a hull breach. Outside, crowd's mood shifted from mockery to unease as sirens rose sharp. Command car. Sirens, not MPs. Black SUVs and staff trucks swung into a semicircle and braked hard. Doors popped open in crisp sequence, not police brass. Captain Thorne stepped out first. Whites blazing in the sun, flanked by a wall of officers and master. Chiefs, the laughter died. Peterson's hand dropped from Frank's arm like he'd touched a live wire. The candidate snapped to attention. Bloodless Thorne cut through the frozen ring without looking left or right, eyes locked on the old gardener. He stopped 3 feet away, shoes bright as mirrors, the base holding its breath. Then he snapped. A salute tracer straight, perfect, absolute. Mr. Nelson, he said, voice clear and carrying. Sir, it is an honor to have you on my base. I offer my deepest apology for how you were received. Captain Thorne held the salute, arm locked, gaze forward. The candidate stared, mind stalling. The base commander was saluting the old gardener. You 3, Thorne said without looking away. See this man? See that tattoo you mocked? He turned, voice rolling like surf. This is Frank Nelson. Before there were SEALs, he was UDTA frogman. When this nation asked for the impossible in Vietnam, he helped stand up SEAL Team 1. He ran missions so far off the books they were denied for decades. That tadpole with a fork was the hand-drawn mark of a three-man recon element. He led so effective they were, it's called ghosts. They went where hell looked like a holiday, and he brought his men home. Silence pressed in. The weight of unwritten history settled over the grass and the marigolds. Frank lifted a palm. Easy, long time ago, Captain. Different world. Thorne lowered his salute, face softening, then hardened again as he faced the candidates. Honor. Respect. You showed neither. As of now, your candidacies are suspended pending my review. Report at 0600 dismissed. They fled, pale and shaking. Frank touched Thorne's sleeve. They're kids. We were too. Pride's a heavy anchor. It can hold you steady or drag you under. Know which it's doing. The words landed without malice, a lesson offered rather than a sentence. In the mind's eye, the quad blurred to jungle, rain hissing on ponchos, a young Frank grinning in lamplight, charcoal sketching a frog with a trident.
Act!
It's for us, he'd said then. A private vow etched in soot and whiskey, brotherhood made visible only to those who bore it. The aftermath was swift. Thorne ordered a heritage module for all hands, story, ethos, the quiet professionals behind the patch. Quarterly briefs became mandatory from seaman to skipper. The tale of the marigolds and the faded ink turned into day one instruction. The ground you train on is sacred. The quiet civilian you pass might be a giant. The review board didn't kick Peterson and his buddies out. Not rot. The findings said. Your sentence fit better. Roll back and start over. Day one, wet and sandy, with the weight of shame on their backs. Arrogance bled out in surf and grit. Humility limped in. Weeks later, Peterson raked trash along the barracks. Path, muscles leaden, spirit scraped clean. He saw Frank back at the flower bed, humming something from another century. Peterson stopped a respectful distance away until Frank looked up. "Mr. Nelson," he managed, voice rough. "I'm sorry for the disrespect." Frank studied him, the smirk gone, exhaustion in his eyes, and a new, steadier light behind it. He nodded, reached into his cooler, and offered a cold bottle. "I know, son. Lesson learned matters more than the mistake made." He tipped his chin toward the far-off clang of training steel. "Keep your head down and your heart right. The water doesn't care how proud you are if you can swim." Peterson swallowed, took the bottle, and nodded once, a quiet oath, passing between an old warrior and one just beginning. From then on, the marigold bed stayed perfect. Recruits detoured around it like a memorial. Some swore they saw officers slow as they passed, shoulders square a little more, chins lift a fraction. No plaque appeared. No official story was written. It didn't need one. Respect did the engraving. Sometimes, at dusk, Riggs would spot Frank on a bench, sleeves rolled, forearms thin and strong. The little frog barely visible in the orange light. Young sailors would pass, eyes straight, and handshakes would be offered like contraband, brief, firm, grateful. Frank would accept them the way he had accepted everything, with quiet. With economy, with a patience that made noise look small. He never mentioned beaches or rivers or names. He watered the flowers. He watched the tide of generations roll in and out. And when asked, he called the mark what it had always been, just a memory, he'd say. A private prayer worn smooth by time. Heroes walk among us like that tin plain clothes with dirt under their nails, carrying maps the rest of us can't see. If this moved you, share it with someone who needs the reminder. Tap like so more people. Find it and subscribe for more quiet legends worth remembering.